Although I do prefer playing music on a record player. I'm crazy about everything that it works.
Are you serious? So I try to make a point of, like, not accepting being old before I am, because I feel like it's a mindset. I know we all get there eventually, but I feel like it's a mindset. And I'm 30. I still feel like I'm young. And then this happens. I see some TikTokers posting their age and how old, a picture of them when they were, picture of them in 2012. And then I think of it. It hits me. A 19-year-old posting a picture of them in 2012 was a small child. Bro, I was 22. What the heck? I was an adult when these persons who are now adults were small children. I'm not old.
Snap your fingers, do your step. You can do it all by yourself. Baby girl, what's your name? Let me talk to you, let me buy you a drink.
So I hear this just little mini thing going on between millennials and Gen Z. Now, personally, I don't care, because what I wear, what I do, I'm an adult. I don't care. But seriously, we're fighting over how to part our hair? Really? Whether we read Harry Potter books, setting aside the whole millennial Gen Z thing, what people decide to read is entirely their fun. Leave them alone. So, okay. I still read books that are 120 pages long that I like the content of the book. But I also read 300 to 400, 800 pages that are completely adult level books. And I'm not talking about because of the scenes, but because of just the level of the book. And then skinny jeans. Who hates skinny jeans? What the heck? Can we make a new category and call it the older, younger adults? Like, I know we typically rephrase it as 30s here, but 30s is so weird in one way. And it's just that you're 30, yes, but the younger folks, the 20s folks see you as old, but not like their moms. But everybody else sees you, you're still young. I'm like, if you're older than me, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be disrespectful at all. And if you're younger than me, I'm not that old. Seriously. I am 31 years old. Old enough to have had children, but I haven't, which is fine. You can still be in your 30s and not have children. That's fine. It is totally fine. And this is not the raw saying, I'm fine thing. It's the, if you have chosen to go throughout your 20s and all of that and either be single or not have kids, that is 100% your choice. 100%. You don't have to have kids by 30. And no, not having kids by the time you're 30 is going to automatically make you unable to have kids. If you have any medical problems that are making you think that, it might be a good idea to get checked out, because you always should be checking on anything that's not normal. But being 30, I've done this for a year now, does not mean you're too old to have kids, too old to get married, or that it won't ever happen. Sometimes that's a choice. And if it's not, guess what? That's okay too. If the reason why you're not a parent or even married by the time you turn 30, like myself, and it's not that you weren't trying or didn't want to find anyone, that's totally fine. The right person just hasn't come your way yet. So, I know this kind of started out a little choppy, and then I got into an inspirational speech I wasn't expecting to come out of myself. So, that was kind of cool. Thank you for taking that short little journey with me for like 2 minutes or a minute. I don't know. But seriously, if you're in your 30s and all those things you expect to have by 30 don't happen, That's okay. Keep trying, keep going for your dreams. 31 years old, never had a solid job that I would call a career, and I'm going after my yoga certificate. So, follow your dreams. So if you saw my last video, I did not intend to make a big speech on that. That just happened to be completely organic. This one was inspired by the last one, so I just want to touch on a few things about being 30 or being in your 30s, or even if you're getting close to that. If you're sitting at 28 or 29 thinking, oh my gosh, I need X, Y, and Z to happen before I hit 30, calm down. Life will bring you things as you are ready for it. Now, me personally, I believe that God brings us things that we are ready for, but see that however you like. Either way, life brings you things that you're ready for. If you're not at a place to have a career, that's okay. Maybe there's still more growth for you there. If you're not in a place to know exactly where you want to be in life, even though we're 30. I know, scary thought. But don't freak out if it doesn't happen. So, if you're in your 30s, early 30s, like me, not excluding the older 30s folks, I'm sure there's some of those out there as well that are, I'm hoping to be in a better spot when I'm in my late 30s. I don't mean a better spot. I mean right now, I'm confident. I know what I want. I just have to go and do it. Right now, I started writing a book at 2 o'clock this morning because it came to me. And I just did it. If there is something that you have been rolling around in your head for a while or don't think you can do it, look up the information you need to do it. If you're a writer, write. I cannot tell you the number of authors, not only on Book Talk, TikTok in general, or anywhere else, that have told me, just write. Write whatever comes out of your head. The rest of the technical stuff and the sentence structure and the more specific things will come later, or when you actually have an editor look at your book. I'm not to that point. I've never published a book, so I can't give any insight on that. But if you're curious and you haven't seen any of the great creators on this app that do know that kind of thing, I can send you to them, let you know who they are. In fact, I'll leave some in the comments above. But ultimately, if you're not where you thought you'd be at 30, don't freak out. It'll happen in the right time. And if it's you stopping you from being there, well, just go out there and do it. Come on, what's holding you back? Do what you can. 30 is a weird age. I've already said that on a video before. Especially if you're single and don't have kids. Especially if you've had friends who've had kids most of our adult life so far. And now, said kids are turning teenagers, and you're like, what? You're all grown up now. It makes you feel old. I think that goes for any age, that goes from watching a kid in your life, even if it's not your own kid, go from being baby to little kid to now teenager. It's a weird thing. Let me tell you that. Even though you might still be traditionally considered young. And to a lot of people out there, yes, 31 is not old, but with these kids that I've known since they were little, they're not little anymore. Especially since I teach a karate class, and some of these kids are kids that came in when they were kids in my karate class, and now they're teenagers. And I'm like, whoa. And then there's this weird thing I have discovered. We're now at that point in our lives, being 30, in our 30s, that you can literally lift your head off the pillow and get a freaking neck ache, and it feels like what I imagine is whiplash from a car wreck. I did that last year. Lift my head off the pillow, and I had a freaking
neck ache from hell for like a week and a half. I feel like I needed to go to a chiropractor, all of that. And I'm thinking, is 30 too young for this? Or is this where it all begins? I don't know. Maybe I'm just complaining because I'm 30 and these are new things for me. And I apologize to any people older than me that are like, you're still young. Calm down. I will. Once I understand this process of no longer being in my 20s and now being in my 30s and things are just not the same. I don't know. Call me crazy. Yay 30s. So I'm convinced that millennials should be renamed to the Renaissance generation. Because as far as movies and TVs, that was our pop culture back in the 90s and the early 2000s. It was a renaissance of pop culture. Like everything you think of as far as classic movies, yes, some happened in the 80s as far as cult classics go. But I'm not talking about cult classics. I'm talking about things that have basically paved the way artistically for most Disney movies for children nowadays. I could go on a series about this. I hope people like this. Anyways, think about it. Classic. The first things you think about in a classic Disney movie, unless you're older than millennials. Sorry, Gen Xers and everybody else. This is no diss on you. It's just kind of what most people think of when you ask them a question. What kind of movies do they list off as far as Disney movies that they remember watching as a kid or knowing of? And that would be things like Beauty and the Beast, Lion King, Aladdin, even Hercules and Mulan are thrown in there sometimes. All of those movies I just mentioned happened in the 90s. We had the reemergence of Star Wars, or more like a generation that already loved Star Wars, the older movies, and then we got the prequel movies in the 90s. Early 2000s, I think the third one came out. But think about it. We were the generation that had Harry Potter in books, and now that's a super huge fan base, at least as far as where we were at as kids. And we're talking about millennials here. We all experience this in our youngest years, you could even say, because of the time we were living in as kids and teenagers. Another big book thing that became a movie for a hot second was Hunger Games. And then Twilight. I love Twilight as the books. Not a big fan of the movies. Some of the movies I love, but not all. But think about it. 90s is the new Renaissance.